the last time we actually had a Tap Tuesday was, but I guess everybody took a bit of a break. I'm Tristan. With me today we have Mr. Pearson. We have Mr. Bancroft. And we have our Disciples editor, James.
Hey.
So, yeah, I mean, like, we've had a ban list since the last podcast. Not much of a ban list. But it was a ban list nonetheless. We want to share their thoughts.
Would you call this an emergency ban list? Because it was probably the quickest we've had a ban list turnaround time in a long time.
Coming either.
I would hope it's an emergency ban list because it's half finished.
True, yeah.
If these hits were included on the last list, I think it would have been like, yeah, last ban list was great, but it just feels like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a proper ban list.
It's so like it's all feels very behind, like because Mystic Mine didn't feel like a problem last format. It was actually like a good card for the last format, right? Because it was like a way to answer Abyss Dweller in the Tira Shizu mirror. Like I didn't play very much of that deck, but it seemed like everybody that played that card felt like they had an edge because they figured that it was good.
Yeah, and then everyone sort of coalesced around the whole, we have to play Heartbeat, and now we are never going to bait ourselves into not having the Shizu shuffle in pop with Field Spell anymore. Like, we're not going to be greedy with it. And then we just banned it so you don't need to worry about it anymore. So, and then...
it forced you to have a Floodgate, like a main deck Floodgate out as well, which is like, it seemed good.
And then they put Orange Light to 1 as well. So now you've got even less ways to deal with Dweller. It just baffles.
I think
I don't understand.
The whole list just seemed way too delayed. And Herald didn't need to go to 1, in my opinion. I don't think they needed to hit that card to 1. I don't think it was good enough.
I mean,
so many lists didn't play it.
I understand where you're coming from, but I think this is a list like a couple of years down the line, we're going to look back and think, okay, this is a good list because they've had 2 cards, which are both problem cards. Like, I know Mystic Mind was good with that format, but overall, like, the card needs to be banned. I'm curious, like, extra deck tutors from the main deck are always going to be broken.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has like a time limit, right?
Yeah. But it was obviously something that was going to continually rear its head as an issue. And it started in Danger FTK, right? And then, you know, there was nothing to properly break with it. And then Tears just broke it again.
The card was like definitely not future-proof at all. So like you're definitely right in saying that these are good hits. They were just timed very weirdly.
Timed very badly.
I think my biggest issue with cards like Curious is they almost prevent card design. Like Konami is limited in what they can graveyard effects they can print, whilst the card is like Curious is around. Like they can't print.
Limited in like they can't print archetypes that have like different types in the same attribute because then they just make Curious.
I'd much rather a card like Curious get banned than us not get cool card design.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's like most players' consensus on like banning cards like that, like Hulk. Like you want really cool tuners in the game, but you don't get them if Hulk exists.
I mean, how many did they ban for Hulk? There was what 3 or 4 on the list at one point.
It's an unreal amount.
I think more, right? Like it was a lot.
There was
so many.
Orion, Glot Bowl, but that kind of deserved it anyway.
Yeah.
Jet Synchron.
Yeah. Steam
was one. Destrudo sort of, yeah. Destrudo's a bit of a naughty boy anyway. But...
yeah, there are a lot of weird cards that, and like those cards have come back and done literally nothing. Like a lot of them. It just goes to show that like, eating around the bush for cards that are just broken, like is a waste of time.
Yeah,
I get why they do it sometimes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. I was going to say the only bad, like, objectively bad part about this list for me is Di-Fi and Macro coming to 3, because I think those cards are far unhealthier than mine. Because if this is a going first Floodgate, like, that's a problem. Like, like nothing beats like engine, like with the engine negate plus a Floodgate. Like it's impossible to win.
I do like Dimensional Fisher because that feels like some sort of out for tier going second. I
Yeah,
can get
yeah,
behind Dimensional
it is.
Fissure.
I can get behind that a bit. Macros is too far.
I mean, Metaverse is also like a horrible thing to come back to 3.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I get like why they feel like it's safe because Mystic Mine is gone, but like
Yeah.
Necro Valley is like absurd. Like
Yeah.
Secret Village is absurd. Like they literally took 3 cards that were limited and boosted the Floodgates from 3 to 9 in one ban list after getting rid of Mystic Mine.
It's also the fact that now that Metaverse is at 3, you can trap trick it.
Mm.
Yes, which is huge.
Yeah,
That's a
because
good
you
point.
can
Which
now
is why it
play
went to 1.
3 trap trick, 2 Metaverse, and like, I don't know, 2 Artifact Sanctum in your side deck, and then just side 5 cards for, you know.
Yes, very, very questionable decision.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff is like, I mean, like Recital Starling, probably a card that shouldn't exist at 2, really.
Well, you think it should be at 1, or you think it should be at 3?
I mean, it makes no difference. Like 2 or 3
Yeah.
doesn't matter, but I feel like it is a card that should just be a 1.
No, it's a 2. Let's go, bird. That deck's
Like-
so good now.
I don't know if it's good. I
mean,
guess
Tenki's
if
at 3
you
as well. Like, I mean,
yeah, like they got some really good consistency boosts, but I don't know, like it being like if Bird was going to be good, it was going to be good with 1 recital anyway, right?
I don't think
Probably.
no,
You think
I
so?
think 2 recitals like a big thing.
so. 2 makes a bit of a difference.
I guess that deck is never really unfair. It doesn't put up a floodgate really.
Well, not anymore, but
No.
Oh, yeah.
I think you could if you really, really, really wanted to. Like,
Yeah,
really
I mean,
wanted to.
That deck can technically FTK, but I don't know if it
Yeah.
could do that.
But I mean,
You could probably
you could
do that
still.
with 1 recital starting anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
I think if you really wanted to, you just charade search Barrier Statue, and then
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's do
Sure,
that.
because
I think you
Okay.
could probably do something similar to that in every deck if you tried hard enough, though.
Yeah, for sure. I guess. I mean, I don't think it's going to be relevant, especially for
Yeah.
like it's never going to beat Tier probably.
no,
Can't make
It's-
Dweller,
it's-
so how is it
it-
going to win?
it's not going to beat Tier, and it's not going to beat the Shifter decks. Which
Yeah.
from this list, it looks like Konami either wants you to play Shifter, play the Shifter Floodgates, play Ptolemaeus to go into a Shifter, or you play a Tier that has no orange light to now answer that kind of stuff.
My main hope with Recital Starling coming to 2 is that someone like Bancroft will enter a YCS and knock out all the flow players early, so that I don't have to play them late into the tournament.
Flu is for buy. They have like the whole engine into going, summon statue, you lose. Wobbler. I have a wins.
I guess that's the other card that like came off is Ptolemaeus. That seemed like when that card got banned, it was banned because it made an Omni negate, and that was it.
Yeah.
But now like the only scary part about it is that it can skip your turn. But I don't think anybody's figured out like a consistent way to do it.
That diamond's good. Diamond's good.
Diamond is
Diamond.
very
I've seen
good
Diamond
at the
plays.
moment.
So I thought I had this thought when it initially came off, but when is it ever better than Dweller?
It's
not.
not.
But like,
Yeah, exactly. So like, if they ban Dweller, then it's a cool card because it takes
Yeah,
up
that's
3 extra deck slots to
Yeah.
make a card that is worse than Dweller.
I think
Then it-
it's
so funny though.
I think
I
it's
guess
better
it's
than
permanent.
Dweller in decks that aren't Tier
I don't
and
think
don't
that's true, is it?
don't get affected by
I
it.
think the only time it's better than Dweller is if you make it blind and your opponent happens to be on Sprite, because then it can negate Gigantic's effect. That's the only way it's ever better.
And against fucking Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk when we tested. And I went, I know in fractal effect, and you chained into diamond. I was like, wait.
Crystal
And
Beasts
then
are
it
just
can
too OP.
negate the Shurag as well. That's crazy.
Look, if Crystal Beast can make Diamond and Zombie World and an Omni Negate and 2 bounces, then you're chilling. And that's
funny.
I saw that list. My initial thought was it's a 2.5 list. That's not real deck, is it?
all I'm saying is I won a locals with it, and then I went to 2.5 and I went 3-2 with it, and I didn't top.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's a meta call, I guess. That must mean you beat Tio with it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just a tier killer.
Yeah.
I don't. This ban list obviously doesn't have like a big effect on the meta at all. Like
No,
in regards to what decks get played, it's just sort of how they get played.
It feels like someone's thrown something at the legs and it doesn't actually trip them up.
It's thrown feathers at Tia's legs.
Yeah.
Fall.
I love the analogies.
Just give him Floanderies free die-fi and macros to side in, and that's it.
It's
God,
so strange. Like the Tia mirror literally just looks like I watched a DB grinder video, and it was for like $300 tournament finals, Tia versus Tia. It was literally the player who went first made Dweller, and they won, and then it just happened 3 games in a row.
It's,
Like, wow.
it's really, really sad
Cool.
because outside of Dweller, that is the most skillful mirror I can think of for like quite a while. Like it rewards your knowledge of like micro interactions and the matchup and like what you can do that the opponent maybe hasn't thought of. Like your practice with that deck is so rewarding, except for Dweller.
Yeah.
But then Mine fixed that, so just if they were banning Mine, they should have banned Dweller.
I don't know if mine fixed it. I think if Dweller was banned, I think this list is very good.
Yeah.
For like what's needed at the moment. But
Problem
it
is
always
they're gonna ban Dweller in a format where Dweller didn't need to get banned. That's exactly what's. But then in hindsight, like a few years down the line, we're all gonna be thankful that thank God they banned Dweller. This format would be unbearable with it. People are gonna be like, remember when Dweller was legal? A generic rank 4 Floodgate.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, I'm shocked it's still legal. Like we were talking about it being banned in TOS format. That was 3 years ago.
It's not even just a Floodgate; it's a one-sided Floodgate as well.
Yeah.
It's such an absurd card. When you
It
think
feels
about
so unfair to just Dweller someone and then have this mill too.
Shockmaster is more fair
disgusting.
than Dweller at this point, right? If you Shockmaster call monsters, yeah, like but also if you Shockmaster call monsters, you're also locked out of monster effects.
Yeah.
And you also have to
It's
get
two-sided.
3 level 4s on the field to be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. What a weird card.
And Shockmaster also, from what I remember, isn't a quick effect.
Indeed, yeah. You have to commit to doing it on your turn and hoping.
And if it gets
you're
impermed,
safe.
that's it.
Yeah, bizarre.
I can't believe
on
they
the
brought
topic-
Tenki back to 3.
Oh, it's fine. Tinky's fine. What we said, fucking bear.
Was it 2, right?
Tiger.
What was it? What was it?
No, is it
like
1?
2 and
Yeah.
3?
No, it was a
one?
2. It went from
It's
1 to 2
definitely
to
a 2, I
3.
think.
Oh,
I think
really?
it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so literally, who cares?
That's why I was surprised. I thought it went from 1 to 3, and I was surprised that they actually made that leap over the semi-limit.
Wow.
Ptolemaios went
that
from
was
banned
pretty
to
much
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of those that like, is anyone ever going to play it at more than 1?
No, obviously not. But
The 10 a
that's
night
just
players.
Shooting riser kind of thing.
like it's not. They don't normally do that, do they?
What would go
From
from?
banned to 3.
They do sometimes. Tribe infecting virus didn't get errated and went to 3 straight away.
When the card's really shit, they just go up to 3.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
not
so.
even like really shit. I just don't think it's strong enough in what we're currently dealing with.
That's also like, but Ptolemaios is also not a very future-proof card. Because what if they
No.
just make a really good rank 5 by accident?
Yeah.
But like, I reckon if Ptolemaios was legal in like Nats format, that would have like changed quite a bit. But now it just what
Feels
is
so long ago. I can't even think about what was good then.
that?
That's
Punk
so
Adventure.
long ago.
Played Sword Soul.
Mm.
Fair decks are not very good.
I will summon Moyi, summon 1 synchro monster and pass.
You get a draw and a search off the Synchro Monster.
Mm.
So,
I mean, yeah, but that's all your turn will ever be.
yeah, true.
Sometimes you drew long one.
Sometimes you searched it and got nibbed.
It's true. Yeah, that does happen. But on the topic of, I don't know. I was going to say on the topic of Dweller, but we've gone past Dweller now. In any case, we do have new product in December. Believe it or not, very forgettable. But I thought this deck was going to be really good until we got this Floodgate ban list, and that was Dark World. Because those cards read like custom cards, like all of them, all of the new ones.
Is that because they're worded so badly? The old ones?
No,
Yeah. They're not as
there's,
bad as
there's
like
less
the
text
old
on the new
ones.
ones.
Yeah, I never
Amazing.
thought having to do nested if statements at work would help with reading Dark Worlds cards, but it really did. And
What a niche reference.
yeah,
To
as
be-
you said, it's the
Yeah.
like shift. Well, D-Fish are grim, and not only that, but Kelbeck's like really good into it because you can just use it at pretty much any point and just
Mhm.
out stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But
It's a very fun deck though. Like the
Mm.
interactions are broken. Like the dark world field spell searcher is just insane. It's just a
That card is-
+1.
That card is crazy good.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like it's not even once per turn, like the discard effect.
And neither
And
is
do you know the
Gates.
interaction?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Gates of the Dark World is not once per turn either. So
It's
you
not.
couldn't just loop them.
Not a hard one. Not a hard
Yeah.
one.
Not a hard ones per turn, yeah.
It is a once per turn per copy. Otherwise,
per
that would be
copy.
legitimately crazy.
And
it reads as a deck that just should go absolutely mental in TCG. Obviously because of the max E factor, but you just read the cards and it should just be like the Americans should just go nuts for a combo deck with it. But
I played against it twice on DB so far. Once they bricked and it didn't matter, and then I played against Escrow, who is known for playing Mermail, so it was no surprise he was playing the other hand loop deck. And like he just kept summoning cards. Like one game I made duel, so it didn't matter, but the other games it felt like he went from like 3 cards to like 20, and then I died.
yeah, I was gonna say you like use 4 interrupts against the deck. They have 3 cards left, and they go summon. I'll bounce to summon from grave, and I'll bounce to summon from grave, which allows me to get a +2 and do it again.
Yeah.
It does a lot.
The fusion spell is crazy because it discards, which obviously makes sense, but it's like crazy good. And then it also discards to add itself back, which is also really good.
Yeah.
what I think is pretty cool is that Tier can also make the Dark World thing by just playing a King of the Swamp, which a lot of them were doing like prior to Ishizu anyway.
Yeah.
Which is
to
cool.
get, like the Millennium Eyes.
And then it's the Dark World fusion is then a semi-negate and then also can trigger your tier monsters in your opponent's turn.
It's to be honest, given King of the Swamp doesn't send to graveyard for cost, it's discard, right?
I think,
I think it's discard.
I think
It's
it's
discard.
discard.
I mean, you have a Guardian Chimera threat in that deck, so I mean, it could genuinely be something to look at.
What, in a Dark World?
No, in like regular tier, literally just playing the Dark World fusion, playing King of the Swamp, Guardian, and then fusing. Yeah, I don't know.
It was like an engine that people were considering, like, to replace the Brandon High Spirits engine for a while, like King of Swamp and Poly, for like the Guardian Chimera thing, because some decks just get bodied by it.
Yeah,
actually bodied, but like I don't think it solves any of the like key issues of the deck. But
Yeah, probably not.
I think maybe it's something like if they end on Dweller, and you go Chimera for Poly, sorry, like King for Poly and Poly. Maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, the Dark World stuff is very cool. I feel like that's going to be a deck that is like unrefined for a very long time, and then someone is going to figure out a crazy combo and top a YCS with it, or like win a YCS with it, because it's definitely got the potential. Like if Dweller gets like faded out of the format and like the shift, there's an answer to Shifter somehow in that deck, then that deck could be really good. They do
It's
so
kind
much.
of play under Dweller as well, kind of.
Yeah, because Grapher and the new one don't activate.
Yeah, they don't
summon.
trigger.
I'm hoping that we get another list before Leon. We do have 2 months possible. I'm coping, but I mean, if they do just give us a nuke list before Leon, I don't know.
I think
Could be very cool.
one of Dark World's best plays with the new structure deck is the hand loop as well. And if you're hand looping in a format where half of the room is tier with shufflers that can shuffle back all the cards that summon from grave and tiers that trigger, it can be a bit grim.
The way the Dark World hand loops is the silver shuffles them back into deck.
Oh, really? I thought it
puts
discarded
onto the bottom of the deck.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
maybe yeah. But like it takes exactly 2 cards from their hand to the bottom of the deck. Not only 1 card. It takes 2 cards.
Yeah.
Like even going second, that is like really difficult to beat, because like they have like the fusion and then silver in hand, and so if you activate any monster effect or a normal spell or trap, they can just trigger silver and put 2 cards from your hand into the deck.
It's so broken. It's like, okay, so you negated my guy and then you handled me for 2. What? Sorry?
yeah, exactly.
It's something that I reckon as soon as the format slows down a little and that they just a hard hit tier and ban Shifter, please, that deck's going to probably be really good.
I think it definitely could. Like but it's one of those decks where you have to play like a ton of engine not to brick. Then you don't get to play a lot of non-engine.
Ton of engine.
Like the mirror is probably really hard to like actually win going second. And then like if there's other combo decks, you're just kind of die rolling into them. I don't know. Like Dangers are notoriously very good for just going second anyway, and Dangers are obviously good with Dark Worlds.
Pretty much
Yeah,
all
there's-
unlimited at this point, right? Or is Nessie
I
still
think
at...
it's just Snake and Jackalope at 1, right?
Yeah, they're the only
Everything
hits.
else is
I think
Fair enough.
definitely.
I really wanted to play the Structure Deck event for this deck though, and I couldn't get around to doing it because that looked like a lot of fun. And as someone who played the original Structure Deck, I wanted to just redo it all over again when Dark World was meta.
Yeah, it seemed like it would have been a lot of fun. Like activate Dark World dealings would have been stress.
Yeah.
I am not activating that card. Are you good?
Oh,
What if you just bricked? What are you gonna do? Just do nothing and hope that they do?
Yeah.
the fact that it's like 90% engine, they're going to have opened at least a danger. Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
way.
so, yeah.
Draw. Discard silver effects. You actually have 2 cards after 5 if you do that. It's quite funny.
I think, surprisingly, I went back and read the old Dark World cards. I'm not sure how else they could have worded them. Because the way that the new ones are written is...
Bullet points. Broken.
Yeah, they should have written them like the OCG, but
Yeah.
in the TCG, if they had written them as then effects, then certain effects wouldn't have had to target.
True, yeah.
So it would have been really hard for the TCG to have written them any other way, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. You
But it's-
wouldn't be able to do then like target something, destroy it, then target something again,
Yeah.
and then yeah, it's a good point. I really wish we had the bullet point thing in TCG. It makes it reading
So much
effects so
better.
much easier.
It's a
My
lot.
Anytime
brain
we
is
get-
so small. Please break it down.
Anytime we
for
get
me.
new card effects from OCG and everything's with bullet points, I'm like, oh, okay, thank God.
I think one of the things I really envy about other card games is more keywords as well. I think keywords
Yeah.
or like before when
Yeah.
Banish and Piercing and Graveyard were written differently, or Quick Effect and that. I mean, they've all improved the game and text quite a lot.
I don't think it's possible in Yu-Gi-Oh though. I think
Yeah.
too much of a groundwork is there.
In stuff like Magic, cards do like it's move this to this, but in Yu-Gi-Oh it's do this and then do this and then all this. Like it would be. I don't think it can be simplified a huge amount more.
Not anymore, no. The card game's too deep into it.
If they gave us a word for banish face down, that'd be
What,
right.
like banish face down? Huh?
No, well, if they like you know how they gave piercing for like inflict battle damage.
Oh,
But
I see.
that's
Yeah.
just an example of a potential simplification.
Vanish.
Vanish.
No.
Oh,
Vanish.
God.
Really good.
Wait,
I cannot be
is
safe.
this which one is your vanish pile and your vanish pile? This is my vanish pile 1 from the Diablos. This is vanish pile 2 from.
I do wish that Konami would actually give us an official Banish zone, because
Oh, same.
sometimes it gets too out of control.
They are quite picky about where you have it on stream.
Yeah,
I guess if semi-officially it's to the right of the graveyard, but may as well just be anywhere near the graveyard. As far as
That like makes so little sense, because if you're at a tournament and you're like shoulder to shoulder with people and your banish pile is supposed to be off your map,
Yeah.
so my banish pile is going in my opponent's field zone. That's what's happening.
Imagine you're just playing, and then someone next to you just like puts like fucking grapher in your field, and you're like, what? Excuse me?
I had someone at Dortmund. They fanned out their banished pile and put it into my map, and like not a little bit, but 2 zones into my map: the field spell zone and the first monster zone next to it. And I was mid game. It was my turn. I was like, no, pushed them off. But like,
the
So-
absolute audacity.
I think
You
it's
should just start taking it and be like, well, I'll attack with this graph.
I think it's just weird that they're so like anal about how the field has to look when you're at tournaments. Like your deck has to go in a certain zone, your graveyard here, and then for Banish Pile, it's just wherever you have room.
I've definitely played against people before, or I've seen videos where people will just turn the cards sideways in their grave
Yeah.
and say that that's their banished pile. I'm like, huh?
Huh?
What do you
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's still in the graveyard.
In pretty much every single OCG replay that I watch when I try to learn a deck, like about half of them, they'll do that, and it drives me insane.
It's crazy. Or like when people
Yeah, it's
put them
crazy.
like horizontally, but at the bottom of their mat, closest to them. I'm like, I don't trust that those cards
No.
are gonna stay there. There's no way.
Yeah, but if you put them in the middle, like I put them to the right of the right extra monster zone, for example, and then my opponent will start banishing cards and put them on top of mine. Like, that happens at least once every event.
Like, why can't it just be above the grave? Why does it have to be to the right of the grave, off the mat, where there's no mat there anymore?
I just go above the grave and then I tilt it 90 degrees.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
do.
that's exactly what I do. Sideways, like above the grave.
Yeah.
But then you do get people like Sam said who just do the exact same but opposite, and then just put them on
Put it
top of
there.
your
Yeah.
banished file, and it's just
Yeah, or like
It's not that
when the
deep. We just share
the
a banish zone.
game starts and they put it on their left extra monster zone, and I go to put it there, and I'm like, oh shit, now I've got to put it on the left,
yeah.
and I've got to remember that this one is my one for some reason, and this one is like, why
Okay.
why have you put it so far away?
I think I'm a dickhead because that's never happened to me. I just move my opponents and put it there.
I am designating your banish zone.
Yeah, I was like, no, this is what I'm putting my banish. Now the funniest one is when you're like playing a game and your opponent has like 3 separate banish zones. Because they just banish and put it there, banish and put it there, banish and put it there.
They're like banish for desires and then forget about it, and then like they get called by and they put it to the right of the grave.
Yeah.
Like, hang on, what?
I've definitely done that myself.
One I kept doing was I'd split. If someone de-shifted me, I'd put my banished just below or above my graveyard, and then if I was activating a Shizu cards, I'd always put them closer to me, like under the deck, and then like halfway through the game, I'd be like, oh, I've just got 2 banished piles.
I've got 2 banish piles again.
I love
It's
it
happened
when
again.
you like desires twice, so your banish zone is as big as your deck, and then someone goes to shuffle it and then cut it and pass it back to you. I'm like, no, wait, that wasn't my deck.
That's a banish pile.
That's a judge call.
Yeah.
Oh.
We did get more product other than Dark World though. We got was it Crystal's Revenge? Bowels of Legend.
November,
That
right?
was a few weeks ago, wasn't it? But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
we've been on break.
Yeah.
But
there's also nothing relevant in that structure in that set, right?
There's a
the
lot of
fact
starlights.
A lot of starlights.
A lot of starlights.
Some decent reprints as well. But
Good Edison
it's also
reprints.
but Maven's was just so much better for reprints.
Yeah.
It was a 6 set. With Talents, Storm. I need both of those cards.
It was
broken.
Very, very good set.
Yeah, like the Crystal Beast one feels like more of a collector set, but purely because of the starlights. I don't know why else you would be buying that set.
Well, it's just Edison, Starlights, and then I guess it went with the Crystal Beast structure deck, right?
A lot of Edison reprints.
I mean, it's fine, right? Like, not every set needs to be meta relevant.
No.
Yes, true.
Otherwise,
As
it'd
long
end
as
up
I
like...
love like more old reprint stuff. Like reprinting, like I want them to do a banned set. Like just every card that's on the ban list gets reprinted.
They
That's a
did
great
that for
idea.
LCKC a few years ago, and that set did very, very well. Like the seal prices for that set is very high.
I bought a lot of that set. That set was amazing.
Like imagine a chance to print like I don't know, like a Starlight Trap Dust Shoot. Maybe not that card in particular, but you know what I mean. Like they could give like so many cool old cards,
Ring of
like really
Destruction.
nice rarities.
Yeah. They could even bring back Ultimate Rare for something like that, honestly, and it'd probably sell so well.
Well, I think that might genuinely be the way they go about things, because they're pushing this Time Wizard stuff at events really well, and they gave obviously Vayu a secret referencing. I mean, it's like ulti in the past, but secrets people can prefer. I don't think, given they print speed duel tournament packs, that it's outside the realm of possibility they do start doing that.
True. A Time Wizard tournament pack would be so cool.
It'd be so
cool.
God, imagine. And like imagine if they had like the format on the pack. Like it wasn't just a generic Time Wizard pack, but it's a Time Wizard pack for the format you're playing.
I think they'd have to cycle it, because I don't think they do like 5 different Time Wizard OTS packs. But I reckon if they did like
It's a cool
this
idea.
quarter you've got an Edison ulti, or there's a different kind of era ulti in each one. That'd be really,
Or
really,
they just
really...
do like the standard OTS thing and put one ulti for each of the three top
Each-
formats
oh,
or something like that.
So,
That'd be
like,
really, really cool.
imagine getting ulti goat cards. I mean, we got that in Duelist Pack Kyber, but imagine ulti oppression.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they could do like ulti BLS, ulti oppression, and ulti Tengu.
Oh,
That would be that'd be so insane.
more ulti plant cards would be very nice.
I feel like the worry that some people have about like an old reprint set isn't relevant, but like it's so collectible anyway. Like any old cards that get reprinted would be like, especially like you said, like because Time Wizard is getting so supported now, they have to be leading up to like a Time Wizard YCS or something, like some big event.
That would be amazing. Can you imagine it? If they did a GOAT YCS, like I would enter, and I don't like GOAT,
Yeah,
I would still
same.
enter. Sounds amazing.
Yeah, I would get back into GOAT just to enter a GOAT YCS.
I think it'd be really cool if they just did a Time Wizard event. So not like a single format, just a 2-day event where they just run loads of side events or loads of, big events, like regional level events, but for each format.
Because there's definitely the market for it. I remember about a year ago, there was a GOAT Nationals, which will obviously not really official GOAT Nationals, but there were so many people that wanted to go that they had to get a second venue to just deal with the additional demand.
Which event are you talking about? Because I think I went to this event.
Yeah, you did. I think initially it was going to be at I think it was at Sneak, but then they moved to Darksphere.
Yes, so moved to Darksphere, which is a huge venue.
Yes.
And there was like 70 people. It wasn't that well, like but like people traveled for it. There was French people there. There was Italian people there.
Like if that was a officially sanctioned, Konami backed Open, for example, like they dip their toes in the water and they say, yeah, we'll put 250 tickets up for GOAT or Edison or Plant Tengu, whatever it is. People will turn up for it. Maybe not if Cyber Dragon's legal, but
people have spoken about like doing like UK Edison tournaments, and people from America have said, yeah, I would definitely go to that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Especially if, like you said, if they made it like official and they made like product for that event, like even a mat. Like people love mats.
Well, they did the mat for Edison.
Yeah, they did Light and Darkness.
Oh, did they?
Right?
Yeah, they did a Light and Darkness Dragon mat.
There have been a few of the other guys that have been like atted in like big Facebook group chats like Chinwagging, where they've said, when are you guys going to start hosting an Edison tournament? I'm pretty sure I saw that a week or so ago. So there's obviously the demand for it. I know Mike's done an Edison tournament in the past, but I think he got screwed by train issues. But there's definitely...
Mike's done loads of Edison tournaments. I think they average like 30, 40 people each time, which is like a normal locals. Pretty good.
For a Time Wizard format, yeah. Where not everyone... For a normal locals, everyone has a deck for that, but not everyone has an Edison deck.
Yeah.
Like when you say Time Wizard format, it sounds like it's just one format, but like that is a specific format within Time Wizard as a format.
Yeah.
So like it's even more niche, and for it to be as popular as it is like crazy good.
Yeah.
There's only like 3 main Time Wizard formats, right? It's like Go, Edison, and Plant. Am I correct?
Yeah, those are the only 3 that have been supported so far.
I reckon Dragon Rollers would start getting like people will start going for that.
I
don't think casual people would like to play it though, would they?
I agree. I think Time Wizard is like, sorry, as you said.
I think the reason people like the Time Wizard formats they have now is that they can play almost any deck from that format. You can play like you have like random like plant cards, or you have like random agent cards, or you have random whatever cards, like worm cards. You could just play that format. Like your deck is going to be viable regardless. But like if they did like a Dragon Ruler format, then you have to have Dragon Ruler cards or Spellbook cards, or you don't get to play basically.
I think the next best one that I can think of off the top of my head is like Hat format, like Prio format.
I think Hat format would be really good.
Until you find out that Infernity is a deck.
There are a lot of like unexplored formats as well, because like obviously GOAT format has been around for I don't even know what, like 20 years at this point. So like people have put a lot of time into figuring out the best decks, and that is still like on a cycle of like this deck is good at the moment, and then it's no longer good in a few months from now. Edison is slowly getting to a point where it's getting more and more refined. I don't know how refined Tengu Plant format is really, but like imagine a Hat format where I know that that's one of the more popular formats on like retro format discords, but having like a ton of people turn up with like different decks from that format, because there are tons. Like
Sylvan,
absolutely.
Gigia, Hat,
You
Infernity,
see, I think
Lightsworn.
yeah, it's a bit too close to Hat, but I think the format just before Hat is like leagues better than Hat because there's no soul charge.
Yeah, I think Soul Charge is what makes that format like kind of frustrating as a player going into that format.
Yeah.
Then but then it's no longer Hat, right? Because it doesn't
Yeah,
have
because
the hands.
there's
and
no
stuff.
hands. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a
It's
lot
just
that
Hat.
there's a lot that we'd like Konami to do with how they run tournaments. But we'll
I
see if
think
they do it now.
another thing that I think I probably discussed with Barney at some point was that like if they did old format tournaments, they could reprint like if they did like a big goat format tournament, they could just reprint the winner's deck from that nationals as like a standalone structure deck that you can buy.
That'd be so sick.
Like
They do that in
Pokemon.
Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
could do that for like every Time Wizard event they do, and then they could do it for like once if someone wins one of their big events, they could do a modern reprint of like someone who won the 2023 Goat Nationals. They just reprint that person's deck, and that is like infinite like content that they could just like reprint and like
It's
make the
infinite.
product for.
Yeah.
Until that
Even if
becomes a
they-
thing, and then someone boosts someone to win with Air Neos in their deck.
Aeneas is going to be relevant next format, so everyone's
It
start
actually
buying
is.
it.
It's so funny. Well, relevant.
Yeah, it's the best option in a bad option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
what
guess-
else is there to talk about? YCS Leon, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think
'Cause that's,
pretty much
again,
everyone's going
completely
to it.
yeah.
All the tickets are sold out for it now.
Mm-hmm.
They sold out
'Cause we
very
finally get-
fast.
I mean, like, yeah, we got a YCS announced like 3 months in advance for once.
Yeah. No.
3 months in advance. Let's go. This is cause for
Really,
celebration, guys.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, Konami.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Konami.
it's such a huge change, and like knowing, I mean, we obviously don't know if there's going to be a ban list or not, but at least we know that, like, we know the date now, so we know then we can plan everything around it. We know what set is going to be out, so we kind of know what to test. So I guess we don't know TCG exclusives, and then the set doesn't come out until the Thursday before the YCS.
Yeah, we've got
I
more golden shower archetypes. It's amazing.
True. Yeah. The Pride archetype, right?
The bride.
It's going to be a bit scuffed because I think some of us are flying out on Thursday, and
that's
if
fine.
we need cards for the event, it could be.
Honestly, I don't think Third and Hypernova is that impactful in the set.
Yeah, I don't think there's
It's-
anything from that set that you like desperately need to play the
Yeah.
format.
It's also a main set, which means it's actually released a week earlier. So you have 3, 4, 5 days to
Oh yeah, true. That's a
Sneak
good point.
Oh,
let
yeah,
yourself be gouged. But
Yeah.
it's not like the manic rush that Ishizu was
Ravens was, yeah.
for the pass a lot.
That's true, that makes a big difference.
Not just the pass a lot for Dortmund as well, because we had Royal Mail strikes.
Oh,
I didn't know when I was getting my core, and then they all cancelled them. I sent Dylan halfway across London to go grab them on a Thursday night, and then they cancelled all the strikes.
So what's actually in Photon Hypernova that's relevant? Like, it's the Cash Tira stuff that seems
yeah.
the most relevant, right?
Yeah.
Cash tier stuff.
I've
The most
not read a
relevant
lot.
card.
Yeah,
I've
I've
read
not
all of
read.
them.
Yeah, I got told that there was a BTEC Havness, but
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's called Tearlaments Cash Tira.
Which is so confusing, because the deck is Cash Tira Tearlament, and then you have a card that is literally just the 2 archetype names, just...
They've done that before, right? Like I swear
Yeah.
there's like
Infernity Archfiend.
a dry Tronix Arctic or something.
yeah, Crusadia
Something like
Crawler and Mech Knight Crusadia Abramax.
The most searchable card of them all is the Odd Eyes Performer Power Synchron,
Yeah.
or whatever
That's
it is.
literally free.
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
It's so funny. But yeah, those decks seem kind of cool. Although, from what I've heard, Kashchira is like just another Flu under his deck.
No,
Yeah.
I'm the biggest hater of Cash Tira. I think the deck is so shit. I'll be honest.
I haven't like watched a lot of people play because I've been playing on DB more than like testing for Photon Hypernova. But like people are still playing Kashchira on DB, and yeah, the deck just seems like such a weird gimmick deck.
I mean,
It does nothing.
you look at it through the lens of OCG, and it started seeing a bit of play initially, and then Tier got like spanked on the list, and then Tier is still the best deck by a mile.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
It's
see
like-
how it can compete here
Yeah. Unless there's a ban list.
unless there's
Yeah,
another ban
exactly.
list. Or
Then-
we underestimate just how strong 10 key macro is. As a
True. Or they get a TCG exclusive card that just, like Garura.
Oh, I'd love for us to start getting TCG exclusive archetype cards like Charge and Gateway and cards like that. I'd love it if we started getting them again. But I don't
Wind Up
suppose
Shark was a
we'll-
big one as well, right?
It
That
was.
a TCG exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Like the downside then is you can't prepare for it until you're randomly told about a TCG exclusive.
Skill issue. Like it's literally like the adaptability of the players like on short
Yeah.
notice.
I
mean,
do
yeah,
like that.
I
I
agree.
do like that about a format.
I love
I
it.
think we've discussed it before. That like that's like a really good part of being part of a big and a really well-rounded team. Is that when something very sudden happens, like a ban list before an event, you can very quickly figure out and test multiple different options like very efficiently.
Yeah.
But for like
Easy.
a casual
I
player,
just-
that
I
must be
just-
so frustrating.
Sorry, go on, yeah. I
Like
often say, from my perspective, I just look at player better than me. I ask for opinion, they say yes, and then I take it to deck building, and then I go to event.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah, like I think the way we're all set up really paid dividends for Pasta in particular. And from some of the comments on the deck profile that we did, it did come through that having a massive pool of players to just bounce ideas with really did like help a lot.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I took the list to Dortmund, and I think it was just miles better than any other list I played. I won all of my mirrors apart from one where I lost in time. I think it was just miles better than every other Tearlaments list there. I
It was
just
very
wasn't a good enough
different.
player.
You did
It was
very well. You got
Having to be
K2?
good is the hardest part about the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love for some like TCG exclusive like archetype cards, and then the Garua is like such a huge TCG exclusive that we got as well. That like it made the deck so much better than it was in OCG. Like that card is like the weirdest generic card they printed in like a long time. It feels like.
I'm so happy they printed it. The card is insane.
I love cards that like differentiate OCG to TCG. Like
Yeah.
not necessarily drastically, but like it actually has an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It just
think
makes like a minor tweak of like what the deck can do.
Yeah, exactly. It like makes like other cards better than they would be in OCG. Like Super Poly in the TCG is way better than it is in OCG.
they're definitely trying it. Like they're giving us like generic extra deck cards. Like Pit Knight is a minor example that was being played in Runic Sprite.
I love that card.
Yeah,
I
like
forget that that's a TCG exclusive, to be honest.
but like if they keep giving us cards like that do force us to start thinking for ourselves a little bit more in terms of how to approach deck building, that's really good. I
I
just
agree.
like a few archetype specific ones like the old days.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. Like something that a lot of people wouldn't expect as well if they're like newer to the game. That'd be like so out of left field that they'd never see coming. That seems like the best way to boost like decks that aren't quite good enough, and it feels like, oh, if only they had this card or a card like this, and the TCG could just print it.
you're
Suddenly they
basically
have
just
it.
describing the OCG exclusive, but for the TCG exclusive decks. Like
Yeah.
Spiral.
Oh yeah.
Actually, the build a card contest that
Yeah.
was like feels ages ago,
Ugh.
but that was a attempted TCG exclusive archetype thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it took
It's
forever,
true.
but just give us some.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
it
was
was-
so disappointing as well.
Yeah. It was a great idea. Terrible execution. Like beyond zero execution.
What even won that?
Executors.
Okay, so was it
Zectrite Koto?
was it terrible execution because Konami let the public have too much power?
It
And they
was-
voted for
Oh,
Insector.
there were a few things. One, they did it in such a way that you could bot votes, which
Oh, yeah,
someone
true.
did and then bragged about and then got caught.
That was some of the best Yu-Gi-Oh drama we've had.
Yeah,
in
no,
a
that
long
was
time.
very good drama.
It was bizarre.
For Valkyrie of all things.
I know. Like, I'm still surprised Light Swan didn't win it personally, but
I didn't think Insector had that much of a fan base.
it was
Weird, right?
it was the one that got botted against. So I think people started pity voting for it to really annoy the guy that botted Valkyries.
Yeah. They, like, rebelled.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like,
Very
if they
strange.
did that with, like, actual good decks, that'd be very interesting. Like,
Right.
if they took, like, the top 8 decks of the format, and then people had to vote for a new card for those archetypes, that could be a
Well,
very cool
like,
different way to
imagine
do
It's
it.
kind of similar of what BCG did when we had that structure deck ranking, when we asked for what structure deck they wanted.
Oh yeah, I'd much prefer a new structure, because that opens up the door to 3 new cards, right? At
Yeah.
least.
I was going to say they're doing really well with structure decks recently. Like, even
Okay.
though even the bad ones like Crystal Beast have good enough reprints to the point of where they're valid product to come out, and someone's wanting them for a competitive kind of reason.
They just need to find the balance. Like, it feels like they're nailing the balance a little now, compared to maybe over the last 2 years.
I guess it's a lot of trial and error, right?
Yeah, but it feels like
Sort of-
they've got a good formula at the moment.
When you think of, like, that Branded was a structure deck, that's crazy to think about. Like, you got Branded Fusion in a structure deck, guaranteed.
But you could say the same about Salamangreat. Like, you got pretty much the whole thing. But speaking of past formats,
We were talking about good decks.
You can build pretty much a whole hat deck from the next structure deck, which is Trap Trick, because they've
yeah, you can.
reprinted Artifact and Hand in that deck.
What conspiracy? That makes sense why Hat could be the next Time Wizard.
I think they could just push it just to sell that product.
I'm a big hat fan.
I had the theory that the Tengu Plant would be the next Time Wizard because Billy Break was, like, part of the team, and he obviously won 2 ICSs with it, and then it happened.
I think anything with plants, I'd love to play. If Tengu Plant, I think it was Dortmund had Tengu Plants as the main Edison, the main Time Wizard format.
Shit.
That format's actually a lot of fun as well.
Yeah. It is.
I haven't played a lot of it, but I know Herman plays a lot of it, and he really enjoys it. And, like, there are a lot of viable decks in that format. Maxi is in that format, which is less fun.
I think
it's fine in 2011 though.
Yeah, kind of. Until you activate Tengu and it's mandatory.
Looking back at, like, old formats when I first started playing and Maxi was at 3, I can't believe I didn't play more of that card. Like, even things like Effect Vapor and stuff like that, I can't believe I didn't. Well, it wasn't more viable to play more of that card at the time.
It's weird, like, I don't know.
The format wasn't so obscene that you felt you had to play it.
Yeah.
It was. I don't think you look at some of the top 32s from YCSs back then and think, yeah, Maxi fists every single deck here.
Yeah. Also, I think the biggest change over the past, like, 6 years, I would say, is the tendency of players to favor combo decks, because there used to be, like, a nice balance between, like, combo control. Now it's like just combo.
Yeah.
Who is comboing harder?
If your deck can do the most, your deck is probably better.
Yeah. Even the control decks are combo decks now.
Yeah, Florunderies are comboing from normal summon to normal summon to normal summon.
Yeah, Florunderies is literally normal summon Drytron. That's what it is.
Yeah.
What else have we got to talk about?
Betty mentioned in a podcast a few months ago that he was playing Pokemon, and now we've all been convinced. So if you know Pokemon or want us to talk about Pokemon, just shout, I guess.
I've seen a lot of people that were playing Yu-Gi-Oh in Nottingham, because I used to go to that locals, have been playing the new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and I thought a lot of them would just be playing it casually, but they're all playing it, like, to practice VGC.
Yeah, I think
it's taken me by surprise. Like, so many players have, like, gone to that. I guess it's kind of a Yu-Gi-Oh off season at the moment.
Yeah, I think there's 10 of us going to Liverpool for the regionals, and I think half of us, at the very least, have never been to a Pokemon locals. So it's going to be
basically
interesting.
Won a Pokemon locals recently, right?
Yeah, he's the only one that's been, like, properly playing the game.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I think I saw. I think Jonas Kushel, is that how you pronounce his name? I think he's going to Liverpool as well. And Vlad is going to Liverpool. So there's quite a few Yu-Gi-Oh players that are going to Liverpool. I think it is just the fact that the next YCS is in February. There isn't any other really events to prepare for. Liverpool fell in a good
Remote-wise,
time.
yes, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
like
yeah.
next week, right, or some shit.
Yeah, I think so. Sometime in December, sometime this month.
That's only a North American thing, right?
No, but we.
You can play it. You
Yeah,
just have
yeah,
to
yeah.
have
What's
like a North
stopping me?
American address.
Who do you think I am?
You
I'll
just need
just
an
enter.
accent.
Are you going to take birds to NA remote duel?
Yeah, bro.
Honestly, playing, I considered it because I've got a lot of spare time at the moment to just play remote duel. But one, I would need to get cards for it, and I don't want to do that. And two, playing Ishizu Tia Mirrors on remote duel sounds like absolute hell.
You're
Trying
big-
to-
Imagine that, like that feature match, that famous screenshot of like Hani versus
Yeah.
their fan grave. Imagine trying to keep track of that over a dodgy, laggy laptop with like a webcam, and then like things are going off screen, and it'd be impossible.
And you can't play Time Thief Redoer because it's banned in remote duel.
Is
That's
it?
too
Oh,
much.
wait, it is, isn't it?
So it's just there's just no
That's so
reason.
funny.
Funny.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Wait, I can't play Jack in the Hand.
No, you
No.
can't.
Oh,
Oh, that's so funny.
No more level
How
1
do you do that?
birds. Oh, so Florunderies is actually hit for remote duel because they're not going to play Jack in the Hand.
So like Tira, like that the remote YCS format is actually different because you
It
don't get to
is.
play redo it. Like that's actually relevant.
I mean, it's still going to be like cancer, but
Of
it's
course,
going to be
yeah.
different.
Being a judge for that event sounds like the worst event you could possibly judge. Ever.
I like to think that it's someone's first time judging as well. Is going to be that event, like first
Yeah.
time judging a tier 1 event or whatever. Is
I
going
feel
to
like
be
experienced judges wouldn't want to judge it
no.
because they can foresee how awful it's going to be. There's
Speaking,
going to be so many like he said she said scenarios.
And you're not allowed to record, which would solve a lot. But
That rule
oh,
is so bonkers.
I competed in like Cardfight Vanguard, basically a YCS, remote YCS for that during COVID, and they actively encourage you to record so that
I
you
mean,
can
yeah.
prove to judges. And another rule that's in place is if you remove your hand or any cards from camera's view, you get a warning. If you do it again, it's an instant game loss.
That's supposed to be the rule in remote dueling, that if your
Yeah.
hands leave the screen or the physical like cards leave the screen, but you can't prove it.
how do you prove it? Yeah.
Yeah, like it's unreal that like recording is not allowed. Like not just like discouraged, but you are not allowed to do it.
I think they know that if you recorded a Yu-Gi-Oh player, there'd be so many investigations like that. Dortmund rolled over until 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like this remote YCS would, I mean, it would be daytime if you're playing in Europe, and this remote YCS in America.
Yeah.
By the time,
Yeah,
it would be
that's true.
awful.
What's crazy about the Cardfight Vanguard remote duels as well is that they run all of the regions on the same day. So Japan and Asia and that, and then you have some players playing 48 hours of Cardfight Vanguard straight because the events are lined up to start and end one after the other.
Oh, what a grind!
And I think there was one guy that won all 3 of them. He won Oceanics, and then he went into Europe and won it, and then went into America and won it.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Got to be the best card
Insane.
player in the world.
I think
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
either topped them all or won them all or something like that. But I remember
I
looking
mean,
at it and being
he's
like, that is
won every
impressive.
region, so he has to be the best player.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, like you can't argue against it.
Mm.
On like it in a row,
Yeah.
and not just like in a row from event to event, but in a row, hour to hour.
You're playing Europe, and then you play Latin America or America, and then you play Asia, and then you play Europe day 2. Like that.
I know it was all one day
crazy.
events, but they were just so long.
All
They
of
were like
It sounds. Yeah.
it was like 15 rounds in a day or some shit like that. It was
It's like doing the
ridiculous.
KC Cup.
Mm.
Oh,
Just grinding
fuck
the
the
KC
KC
Cup.
Cup. No, but doing that in a Yu-Gi-Oh would be. Nah, it would be impossible.
Mm.
Your brain would melt.
Your
If my
brain would
brain melts
actually
after
melt.
like halfway through day 1 of ICS, my brain is
Yeah.
like fried. You get so tired.
Yeah. Dortmund was long, and it ended at 12:30, and then there was no cabs after, and I had to walk an hour to the Airbnb. It was a long day.
Right.
For my first event to make a
That
day 2,
happens.
it was awful.
Yeah, I haven't started off with the YCSs. Oh wait, there's no cabs. Guess I'll walk an hour.
Yep. Yeah. But a funny thing that happened to Dortmund. Dortmund was the first event to use Neuron for the pairing system, and there was a few issues with it. One of them was I sat down for my first round, and it's not names, it's usernames for whatever you put in Neuron. So a lot of my opponents were just like a random string of numbers and letters. So I had to confirm it was them. So I'd show them my phone and I'd be like, "Oh, is this you?" But on the tournament screen where it shows who you're playing against, it also shows deck selected for event, and then it just shows like the deck that you selected. So for my first like two rounds, I accidentally showed my opponent my deck.
Not just the first round.
No,
you didn't even pick up on it by the second round.
and then obviously first event with Neuron ends at 12:30 on the Sunday morning. But Neuron was programmed to be two separate events, day one and day two.
Yeah.
So by the time that day one ended, none of us could report our matches for the last round because it technically Saturday was over. So the day one event disappeared. So we had to queue up and manually enter them onto like an Excel document, and then they had to go away, and China had to fix it, or Japan had to fix it.
Poor judges.
I remember seeing someone say that you could click on your opponent's profile and see what like badges they'd won, and like there are different badges for like different decks that you've like top locals with. So he said that his opponent had the Flandrees badge, so he just knew that his opponent was on Flu. The best strategy was always you'd grind DB with like a blind second deck, and you would always pick rock. So then your opponent would go on your YG scope, check your replay, be like, I picked rock. He wants to go second. I'm gonna pick paper, and then you pick scissors. And like, the spreadsheets that went into LCSs were unreal. Like that format was so fun. Like the lead up to it, you had to get good at your deck, and then fake being good at a different deck.
the best bit was that for some reason, because people complained, the UDS winners had 2-round buys even for the LCSs. So they were unofficial Excel spreadsheet filling out bitch boys, and helped everyone with it.
That was great. What a good time.
The UDS might be the best thing you could have ever won as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, right?
Yeah, it's complete bullshit.
Yeah.
It's so
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to get around it, but
Bro, just stop giving the 2-round buys.
I don't think
they can't. It's an agreement they made. It's literally you're winning. So unless they change, either they rebrand YCSs as something else and they say, you only have 2-round buys for YCSs. Unlucky.
Didn't they get them at North American Nationals though as well? Yeah, I thought it was any events. It wasn't just YCSs.
You get a 2-round buy if you were in the World's Points playoff on the Friday.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if you get a buy for Continentals.
Oh, okay.
It's mad. Because like just skipping the first 2 rounds means you can genuinely change your deck. Because you can build to just beat better players.
You know you're against someone who's 2-0 at least.
Yep.
Yeah.
They also get free entry to the events. They also get a VIP table. Yeah, so they get a VIP table, they get free entry and still get entry packs. And then they also won the cloth mats, which are probably some of the most expensive mats Konami will ever produce.
They get a championship belt.
Which is
the coolest prize you could ever win in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Very cool.
You know
If I had a championship belt, I'd be wearing it to every event. I'd be walking in with it on my shoulder with like theme music.
The original.
You would never see me without it.
It's the original rules.
The original rules were that you had to bring the belt to every event to claim that as like proof that you had won it. And so people started buying them. People started buying the belts when it was first announced, and I think that's why they stopped it. They just noted down the names. Because the belt was what held the 2-round buys, not like your name, I think.
It's still stupid that only America got it as well.
No, there's like 2 European ones, I think. Or a European one.
None of those.
I think there's a European that has one.
I mean, no. There might be a European player who has one, but it was only in America.
Oh, okay.
But I've heard that there's supposed to be a UDS like champions playoff. Like all the previous winners entered into one tournament. I don't know what's actually happening with that, or what the circumstances of that is, or like what the prize would be. But hopefully they just like anybody who enters it loses all their other credentials, and then there's just one final UDS champion.
Yeah.
I
You
think they
get a special
cancelled that.
prize card, and yeah, no more buys. The rest of us plebs now. Or you have to earn the UDS buys for the season. Like they do pre-tournaments every year, and you get buys for the rest of the season based on that.
That'd be cool, yeah.
I heard a story about.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say it's not about UDS, but I heard a story similar about how some American players for American nationals or whatever you want to call it, are their equivalent of Euros. They'll kind of gamble, and on the Friday they'll enter as many last chance qualifiers as they can. And for a last chance qualifier, if you already have your invite, entering the last chance qualifier burns your invite.
Yeah.
So all these good players would just go to the last chance qualifiers, enter them as a joke, and then have to earn their qualification back again, just to stop other people entering.
What?
Jeez.
That's crazy.
That's psychopathic.
Yeah.
It is psychopathic.
I'm not sure what players did it, but I've heard quite a few of the. This was back in like quite a few years ago, though, like way before like TOS format.
Imagine having the balls. I couldn't.
I mean, it's terrifying.
Like
Traveling to Euros, entering a last chance qualifier, even though you have your qualification, be like, oh well.
I think this was like peak Hoban times, kind of back then.
Because I think
What do you mean? Hoban's
Gabe,
peaking now.
True.
Gabe played a last chance qualifier to for SAWCQ or something. I
Yeah, but
think.
that's because he actually had to
Yeah,
actually had to.
And I think he said that one of his opponents tried to drag a Sepelia and Ash Blossom in hand. I vaguely remember him saying like some hand effect they tried to Sepelia it. So
eventually you
last
must
chance-
like get
they've got
yourself
to be
in.
free.
If you like, even if you get like one real opponent, that real opponent is probably going to win, and then you just have to pay another one. Eventually, the good players are all going to get through, and you're going to be playing against people who have nothing better to do.
I just like pictured
they turn up to the event just to play the last chance qualifier for fun and then go home.
I just had this picture in my head of like 8 of the best North American players accidentally entering the same pod and then just knocking each other out.
That'd be so funny.
It'd be very funny. Right.
Yeah. How long
I
have we
think that's
been
all our
talking?
topics.
An
God,
hour
man.
and 3 minutes.
Wow.
Long
Yeah,
old
we've
pod.
Yeah, you've listened to us for too long.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get to listen to us next week.
Yeah.
What will we talk about then? Who knows? Maybe Pokemon,
knows?
if people want a Pokemon podcast.
Yeah.
Or like, if you've got any other general questions
Yeah.
or stuff you'd like us to talk about or discuss, just
We
comment.
could do a cash tier spreadsheet of all the infinite ways to lose to a single interaction.
How to get a book of Eclipse 100 ways.
I'm picturing, the spreadsheet of Salamangreat where it just ends with Nibiru.
Incredible. Yeah, this has been fun.
It's been a good pod.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have
Alright.
more content out because James has taught us how to actually record stuff.
Edison
I'll
Cup
take
soon.
attention.
Edison Cup soon. It has to be soon
Fable
because
Edison Cup.
otherwise my Adobe subscription's going to run out and then I'll have to pay for it again.
True.
That's where all the YouTube money's going.
All the YouTube money that we don't make because we don't make videos.
No, I
We
think,
don't make videos.
We should have held the short of the Frog FTK until shorts were actually monetized. That's what we should have done. And then
Yeah.
I'm so sad because I'm going to reveal now a podcast exclusive that the idea for the next short it would have involved Mystic Mine. However, that card is now banned, so I can't do it. It won't be as funny. She's getting very good at holding things, so she can stand up now. So we're getting somewhere.
Oh,
the next one needs to be her reacting to the ban list, really.
There's going to be so much stuff. I have no idea. I'm getting her to react to stuff. I can throw her in the air and she screams. So, you know.
Oh,
When's her first YCS? That's the real question.
Oh, yeah, it's true. First YCS, first win. She's gonna win a YCS before I do.
Dragon Duel champion.
The idea is for it to be
eligible for Dragon
uni,
Duel
right?
now, right?
Pardon?
The idea is for it to pay for uni, right? You just train her, take her to the Dragon Duel.
She hasn't got time for uni. She's gonna be playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
Duel Academy, bro. Duel Academy.
Yeah, exactly. The YCS is her uni. I'm gonna get on Metafy. Like, she's gonna be taking lessons from Gabe.
You laugh. I don't think any of us would have turned that down at all.
Right? Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly.
I'm expecting to see her at Nationals next year. Dragon Duel.
For sure. Yeah. She's not gonna be able to read or write, but she was going to be able to FTK.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to read the opponent's cards if she just wins on the first turn, right?
Morphtronic FTK.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going first. I do not consent. Next game.
Oh. But yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully see you all next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Amazing.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you in a bit.
Bye.